Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here for a Scrap Academy lesson in stamping your journaling. As you know, we're in a unit about journaling, and in this case, I will freely admit to you that this is the class dunce teaching the class. It's something that I've just recently discovered, and I have to thank Emily for our fearless leader here at Scrap Academy for introducing me to it. I actually saw, I should have that layout to show you. I'm sorry, I didn't print it off. But I noticed that she had a layout where her journaling looked like a kind of a wonky typeface, and it wasn't just on her background, but also kind of went over onto the elements in her some of the papers and stuff that were in her photo cluster and so forth. And I sent her a note, and this was just a few weeks ago. I sent her a note saying, how did you do that? Is that a typeface or whatever? And she said, no, it's stamps. And that actually reminded me of these sets of stamps that I bought from the dollar bin at Michael's. Michael's is a big box craft store in the U.S. And I just happened to pick them up every time I saw a font that I didn't have. And I've used them a lot on cards, but I don't do card making as much these days as I used to. So I did, after that, I tried this set, which was the smaller typeface that had kind of some little dings and hits and bad, bad typing, and it came out really cute, but I didn't use the right ink. She actually turned me on to using VersaFine because it does, as it says on the top here, captures fine details like no other, and that's absolutely true. And it stamps a really, really vivid black. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that you should not do this if you are a lover of precise, neat, perfectly lined up things. What I liked about Emily's, what drew me to it, is that it's just right up my alley because it was, like I said, kind of a wonky typeface. Now, I will tell you that these stamp sets, this particular one that I have here has capital letters, small letters, and numbers, and punctuation marks. And I like it. I've used it a lot on cards, but it's not. It's maybe too big to do journaling. So I'm going to do a title with and a little bit of journaling. I'm going to put a date here. Of course, you know that you journal. If you consider dates and places and little sayings to be journaling, there are these date stamps, and this one has a rolling date, and it's got some sayings. I have maybe 5 or 6 of these. My big problem with that is, for example, this is a trip we took in 2001 when we were living in Brussels. We went to Spain, and we went to see Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, and we were just amazed. And I don't think I've, I have a photo album that I did in 2001, the year that we went, and it's just kind of photos, original photos kind of pasted on pages. I've just recently come across the negatives and had a chance to scan those and capture these photos electronically so I can do scrapbook pages with them. So these are some of my favorite photos. As we were approaching, that was kind of through the distance there. It was in December, so the trees weren't as full and green as they are in some photos that you'll see. And then as we got up close, you could see this. And in 2001, there were a lot of construction things. So, and then a close-up of one of the naves here, and then I've got a real close-up into there. So it's a nice selection of photos. Because of the sizes and shapes, I wanted to do them in a grid, and I love just kind of miscellaneous grids like this with scraps of paper that just use whatever size scrap I happen to have around. This pink one is a little thinner than this green one, and these two are not the same width at all. Obviously, these aren't, but it put together with some large embellishments like this, it kind of works well. So anyway, I could use my date stamp, but it doesn't go back as far as 2001. So I'll put that away. And what I'm going to do instead is right under here, I'm going to do the 2001. So I'm scared to do this. As you can see, I have used this alpha set, which is my favorite one. It's the one I use the most on cards. I've used that to print this journaling. And as you can see, it's not perfect. There are some mistakes there. This top part of the R didn't stamp, but you can read it, and it says awe is the right word to describe this feeling. You know, it's just, you can't help but be in awe as you approach this. So I did that off camera, didn't want you to kind of sit through the whole thing. So let's just do the date. And I'm kind of stamping the wrong way. I know you're supposed to hold the stamp and do the thing, but I'm kind of just not wanting to, and because I did it that way, I get this little frame, but that doesn't bother me because it kind of, it not goes with or matches, but it's not horrible given that I have this, and that's so imperfect. So I need to move that a little bit closer. And I'm intentionally doing these a little bit off center. So, and then this one has the side. So to me, that's perfect for the mood of the page. So not a good example of how to do it. And if I had wanted this to be lined up and a little bit more perfect, I could, if I trusted that the little rubber ends on the ends of the wooden blocks, if I trusted that those were perfectly lined up, then I could have spent a lot more time than you just saw me spend and come up with something that's a little bit neater looking than that. But that wasn't my goal. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So now I'm going to try to see if I can write Sagrada Familia here. And let me tell you that the good thing about this is that if you mess up, you know, you can kind of cut a piece of paper the right size and cover it up. S. A. See, I'm getting a little too much of that framing there for my liking here. So maybe let's just try it the right way. It's kind of... Okay, much better. So there we are, a lesson. The teacher learns a lesson, and I've known this forever. This one actually isn't, the R isn't taking the ink. I can see that I must have never used that R. Okay, so you can see how it really didn't absorb the ink. These guys are cheap, folks. Again, you'll be able to read it, maybe. Oops, I did the D upside down. I've done that before, and I do it the right way up, and it kind of just looks, you know what? This may be one of those that I cover up. D-A. Okay, Sagrada, well, I think you can possibly read that. Let's see, the F. I'll go F. A. There's the M. The effect of this, when you've done it, when you have a layout that is appropriate, where you've got a layout that's of the right mood, you know, the kind of the casual mood, this is a really cool look. If you have a really, you know, perfect one that's maybe a heritage layout where you kind of want everything to be pretty, or your, you know, granddaughter's prom photos or something, you might want something neater. One of the things that I want to show you, I have not done this, but I will be doing it before this unit is over in Scrap Academy. I do a lot of journaling around the edge of the page, and that, to me, that would be perfect for stamping journaling. And I kind of, so I didn't do it on this one, and I will not be doing it on this one, but I just kind of wanted to show you. I want to show you some other options. There are lots of, well, first of all, I'm using little wood stamps. If you want to use a MISTI or some other tool, or even just acrylic blocks, this is a good, it's from Kelly Creates, and it's a good lettering. You get the large capital letters, and then you get the small lowercase letters. And this makes for really beautiful, again, I've used it on cards, not on layouts, but certainly will be. There's some other, this is a Catherine Pooler stamp set that has words that could be arranged into journaling. You could probably put a lot of these words, kind of like those magnets on your refrigerator. You can do this. Again, ideal for cards, but I could, and I'll have to open this. I don't think I've ever opened it. It's brand new. This is something that would be really good for putting together journaling in a card. And there are lots of stamp sets. Diane Reevely makes these ones with kind of snarky sayings like "pretending I'm a pleasant person is exhausting." Would be great if you had if you were scrapping a selfie of yourself with a bad, foul expression on your face or something like that, or tipping a margarita saying, "I can hardly wait to regret this." These are, I would use these in a on a layout, and it's not exactly journaling. It doesn't tell a story. It's not a paragraph of information, but it's adding text to your layout by stamping. This is another one. These are kind of inspirational sayings, but I like this one. There's a fine line between genius and crazy, and I've got a picture of my son that I'd probably like to use that on. This is another one that has some, if you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know. Again, inspirational kind of sayings. And then one I've used recently several times on different layouts with the kids, "Be happy, be bright, be you," which that on a layout, I used it on a picture of my granddaughter. I used it more recently than that, but I used it on some photos of my granddaughter's graduation, and that plus a date, enough journaling for me on some layouts where the story is obvious from the photos, where she's wearing a cap and gown. So those are different ways that you can add journaling with stamping. This is an example of how not to do it. Part of that is I'm going to blame on the kind of stamps, the cheapness in the quality of the stamps, and the other part of it is just how I inked it. So hope you got something out of this, and I challenge you to go try to journal even a date or a place on your next layout using some stamping of some kind. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the class. Check out all the rest of our classes on journaling. There are just so many ways you can show it off on your page or not show it off, as the case may be. So bye. Class dismissed.